Hello, guys. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Hello, teacher. Good morning. I
Good morning.
can.
Okay, amazing. It's great that you can hear me. I just want to make sure that everything is set up so you can hear me well. And can you see the screen? Can you see my presentation? Let me know, please. I have shared a presentation here. So
I,
before we start, let me know if you can see. Okay, guys, thank you very much for being here in another session. It's a real pleasure to have you here. Please let me know. Can you see me? Can you see my presentation? Is this one?
yes, teacher, I can.
Yes. Okay, amazing. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you very much for joining. I truly understand that this time is not the easiest for you to join, but just consider that if some of your classmates are not able to join today, you can actually check the recording, which is going to be also another opportunity for you to not to lose this topic, this session, which can be very interesting and useful for you guys. Okay, so remember that this. I mean, I already started the recording, so I guess everything is set up to get it started. Okay, so again, welcome. Thank you for spending your time here, and we're more than ready to start. So first of all, don't forget that my name is Diego Moya. I'm the professor Moya. I'm in charge of English 6. So I'm leading the certain groups, some groups. And today I'm going to share with you this strategy, this session, which is really cool. Actually, I guess that you can use some of these strategies or this approach to improve your presentations, your communication. Okay, what is the topic? Speaking like a global thinker. All right, and we have this integrated grammar for debate and academic communication. You might think that this sounds very difficult, like something weird, but actually it is not. I'm going to give you some special tips that you can use when you have to prepare some debates or academic communication. So remember that the idea is that you'll be able to communicate properly in an academic context, of course, in English, of course, right? And our setting is a debate, and the idea is to think globally, or speak as a global thinker, right? So we have some concepts here involved that we are going to develop along the session. All right, let me see. The population, this is for you guys, of course. We want always help you to improve. So this session is intended for all the students who are willing to learn, of course, definitely to learn, improve, to have some fun in this online language community, and also the strategy online tutor of our UNAT University. Okay, perfect. So why? Why is this relevant? Why do you want to use this? Speaking like a global thinker, like these days we have several situations in the world, and the idea is that we have enough or sufficient elements to provide our thoughts, to transmit one message, right? And this is what we want you to help you with, to speak like a global thinker. This means that we are going to use our English skills, in especially the productive skills, abilities, either writing or speaking. Okay. Of course, this session is very short, so we don't have much time and many people as well to create like a debate environment. So I'm going to just to provide you with some tips that you can use later on. So the idea here is that you can use your English to discuss important world issues clearly and confidently. Of course, because in some of our tasks in English, for example, English 6, English 7, that you have conversational English, is very, very common to have these kind of challenges like a debate. So express your ideas, support your thoughts to go in favor or against something. Okay. I think, okay, I was listening to something weird, but it's okay. So this is basically our main objective. Is in this session, you will use something that is called integrated grammar. Integrated grammar. It's not a difficult concept, and the name itself indicates something. Yep. But why is this important? Because you can use this integrated grammar as a tool. Yes. And in which when you use this tool, you can express your opinions, you can give your reasons against, in favor, you can propose solutions, and participate in academic discussions. Don't forget that this is advanced English. So the idea is that you are going to be able to use this approach to produce academic discussions, academic speeches, right? For example, we can use debates. Yes, through debates and communicational activities, you will develop language skills to speak in a more organized, accurate, and meaningful way. Okay, so cool. So we have here some concepts: speaking, global issues, integrated grammar, communication activities, or debates. So we can involve all these concepts in these sessions. Okay. And we have three main objectives. We as tutors, we want you to guys, please express your opinions about global issues using clear grammatical structures. Yes, that is one objective, that you can communicate using appropriate grammar. Number two, to use connectors and modal verbs to give reasons and solutions. So remember, everything is involved right here. And number three, participate in short academic debate with confidence and clarity. The third point, unfortunately, we don't have enough time, like I said before, to consolidate a group where we can put into practice in a real, let's say, in a real debate. But you will have all the elements that you can use later. Okay. So the first thing that you need to know, and I think that you might have heard this before, it is the integrated grammar approach. This is an approach. And we, well, you guys, we as English teachers and you as future English teachers, it's nice that you take into account this, consider this approach, because it's going to help you to transmit grammar in an easier way, and actually that students, your students can think that grammar is actually important and it can help to communicate, to really transmit ideas, okay? Because what happened before, the traditional grammar, what happened with that? What was the goal? As you can see here in my screen, the goal before was only to pass a test, right? The teacher used to say, okay, study simple present because we will have a quiz next week. And so you had to study all the rules. What is the usage, the rules that I have to consider, how to properly conjugate a verb. Yes, but it used to happen that we learn this grammar isolated. You understand isolation? Let me write here in the chat. I guess that you know this concept. Isolation is when you do something without any context, right? And it happened before. So we didn't use the grammar at all in a context. So just to pass the test. The method that we used to memorize a lot. So memorize the verbs. Okay, what is this? What is it? I am not saying that this is incorrect. No, it's fine. This is also fine. I mean, you can study grammar, you can remember the rules, because actually that is part of our duties as teachers, because we need to learn this in order to transmit that message to our students. But what is important is to somehow use all this grammar into a context, yeah, something close to our students. Before traditional grammar, what was the output? What did the teachers want our students to come out with? With some isolated sentences. Just for example, in simple present, my family lives in Bogota, for example. Okay, yes, but what? What happened with that? Uh, I traveled to Mexico 2 years ago. Oh, okay, that is traveled, simple past. You use the verbs in past. Okay, but that is an isolated sentence. So a student said, well, for me, it's not important. It's not really relevant. Okay, so that's what we want to change now. And the focus, we used to focus only on the absolute accuracy. What is the accuracy when you communicate? It's just basically to use the exact grammar rules, right? I went to the park. I is the subject, when is the verb in past, and then we have the complement of the sentence. I repeat, is that incorrect? It's not incorrect. No, I'm not saying that. But that was something traditional and we want to change. And in our academic context, since you are in the sixth semester, seventh semester, eighth semester, so this is, we have to take the grammar to another level, okay? Go beyond. So basically in the integrated grammar, it is not about only learning grammar in isolation, like I said before. It is a system. The idea is that you learn how to use this system for expressing your ideas, debating effectively, and writing persuasively, because this is another level of using grammar. Remember, this is for the productive skills, which is writing or speaking. And normally at this level in this semester, you have to write to persuade another person, the reader, and you speak to defend your thoughts, defend your stance, right? Like in a debate, for example. That's why I'm using this. And what is the goal? To provide opinions that you can transmit actually your ideas. The method, we can contrast ideas. Why is this important? Why this is not relevant in my speech? An output. So what is the result? That you can actually transmit a recommendation, maybe a solution, right? And the focus on a debate, in this case, the focus is to provide a solution, or just not an exact solution, but something that might have some impact. Yes, talking about a global issue. Okay, remember that here we also involve a global issue that we have a lot these days. Okay, so basically, it's not about memorizing rules only. It is about using grammar to communicate what you really think. Okay, this is what we want to do. Now we have a very short poll. Yes, just go ahead and scan this code, which is also this one. Let me see. Okay, it's the code. I'm going to share my screen so you can see. Just 1 second. I want to. Well, you have the QR code there. So I want to share this screen now. Okay, so very simple. This is just two sentences. Let me know if you can see the poll. Can you see it? Also, I want to share here in the chat the link. So maybe you can join through the link also. But with the QR code is more than enough. Okay, just log in, please. Join. I know that there are a few students today. A lot of people is working at this time, doing different activities, I know. Actually, I guess that some of you are working at this point, right? In this very moment. Were you able to join, guys? One person, two people, three people? Could you join? This is what I have here. And it says waiting for participants. Well, in this poll, basically the questions were, what is the biggest global problem today, in your opinion? So if you couldn't join to the Mentimeter poll, so you can use the chat. You can use the chat to answer this. What is the biggest problem, in your opinion, that we have to face now as a society? Because in these advanced levels, that is something that we really need to be able to discuss about, right? Global issues. difficult situations these days that we have. Don't worry, like I said before, we don't have much time to speak. If you don't want to speak today, I think that you don't want. And why not? Yes, I can see here one person. So it is actually working, Diana. The biggest problem is the sense of justice. For example, wow, that is a good one. Sense of justice is very philosophical concept, right? What is justice? What is the correct sense of justice these days? Any other option? You can do it here in the poll or remember in the chat, it's okay. A couple of ideas. I can see here the climate. Sure. Climate change. Actually, we can use, I think I do consider climate change is a big issue these days, and a lot of governments are worried about it because since, I mean, if we don't have a planet where to live, so life in general won't exist, right? So that is definitely a huge situation. Armed conflicts. Also, we can definitely finish our existence, globally speaking, because of wars, right? What is why we are not able to find a solution without fighting against each other? True. Okay, correct. And we have also here this. Here I propose 4 different global issues, and the idea was just to rate the problems according to your opinion, which one was more important than the other. And you mentioned climate change, poverty, AI risk. Yes, some people say that this is very, very risky for us. The excessive use of artificial intelligence, education inequality, and we have so many more. Okay, poverty, the climate change, the justice, the one that you mentioned before. Okay, cool. So let me stop here, and I want to go back to the presentation. So based on your answers, guys, I'm going to give you these tips that you can use to structure your arguments. Remember, these can be used when writing or when speaking, specifically when you have to defend your stance or your point of view. So the first thing that we need to include basically is an opinion, right? Your opinion is crucial. Here, what is the opinion about? Well, basically, you can establish your core stance clearly and confidently. All right. And do you have some expressions to show your opinion? Sure. I think, I consider, in my point of view. I'm not going to go beyond each of these because we have a lot. That is a whole different class. And at this point, you have studied this before. I'm totally sure. Okay. Let's take as an example the climate change. So first of all, you have to establish your stance and you can say, I think climate change is serious. So you are showing that this is an important topic for you. Secondly, what else can we use? We can contrast ideas. Contrast to establish differences. right? To acknowledge opposing realities, something different, to introduce friction, to show that it is not the same always, all right? Or also with this contrast, you can show that there are different perspectives of the same topic. And what can you use here? You can use, of course, linking words, contrasting words, right? For example, however, however, some countries do not act. Yes, I think climate change is serious. However, some countries don't act, don't react, don't take action. Okay, we are building up our speech. Next, what else can you introduce? You can introduce a recommendation, the action to propose here interventions or assign responsibility to whoever is involved here. And how can we introduce grammar here? We can also here use modal verbs, because with the modal verbs, you can give opinions, you can provide recommendations, prohibitions. You already know all the modal verbs, so it is not necessary to talk about them here. And we have this example. Governments should reduce pollution. So I am using the modal verb should in order to transmit a suggestion, right? Like a recommendation. And finally, the idea is that we can provide an outcome, like a solution. The purpose here is to prove that your recommendation will actually work, will your recommendation will be taken into consideration. So that is relevant. And also we can include here different grammar topics. For example, if countries cooperate, we can solve global problems. Here I am introducing um, conditionals, right? The first conditional. Here you can use, depending on the topic, you can use a grammar structure, okay? Uh, Conditionals, modal verbs, right? Reported speech. Well, we have several topics in English that we can use. This is basically how you can build or construct your speech using the integrated grammar to provide an opinion or to um, defend your point of view. Okay, cool. What else do we have? Basically, this is the summary. Okay, establish your stance. Do you know a stance? I guess, right? A stance is your position, what you think, your point of view. And you can use different sentences. Like I said before, I think, in my opinion, I consider, to introduce friction or to establish contrast. So you can use words like however, on the other hand, on the contrary. So we have different expressions also. To demand action. So when you say no, it's important to do this or this or this. You can use here the modal verbs. Governments should, people must, right? They have to, whatever, okay? And finally, to prove success, that your position, you have to show that is relevant. So you can use another grammar structure. For example, the first conditional, what happens if, or if we invest more money in something, we can get a solution, right? So basically, guys, so you can treat these phrases as a modular inserts, swap them out, Yes, you can change them based on your specific debate topic to instantly structure your thoughts. The idea is that you can show that your thoughts, your ideas are well prepared, well structured. Okay, cool. Now I want to share this activity. Very easy too, very simple. Let me host it. So it's very short, so you can show understanding of what we have just said. Okay, I'm going to give you the code. It's going to take us a couple of minutes. I want to copy the link in the chat. So please go ahead and use the chat. But also, I'm going to share my screen so you can see here. This is a blueket activity. Is basically select the correct alternative. Choose the correct option. Okay. So go ahead and check the chat. You can use the link there to join. And also there is one game pin or the game ID that we need in order to join. All right. Don't worry, guys. It's very easy, very simple. So you can practice what we have just mentioned during this session. I have here three people. I'm gonna give you a couple of three. One more minute. So you can join. Okay. So let's start with these guys. All right. Alejandra, Isabella, and Robinson. You can start. Okay. That will take us 6 minutes. It's very short. Good luck. Okay, very good. So our participants have just, well, they have 20 seconds to finish the activity. And it was basically to put into practice, well, to try to remember the concepts that we developed along this session before. So there were a couple of questions like multiple choice, and here they did a great job. I guess that the best person here was Alejandra. Really good, Alejandra, the first position, then Ingrid, and then Robinson. Okay, cool, amazing. Let's continue. Just before you go, before you finish. So here is like a foundation that we need to structure when you want to speak like a global thinker. Of course, keep in mind, first of all, the topic. We have different global issues that you need to develop. Also, it's necessary for sure to know the grammar. So to be well prepared in terms of grammar. And later, how can you connect your ideas in one coherent paragraph, for example, if it's a writing, or in a coherent speech when you speak, right? You can introduce your opinion with different expressions. You can show contrast when using some words like however, on the contrary, on the other hand, yes, and you can propose a solution, yes, something well structured. Everything, all of this is integrated. That's why it's called integrated grammar. Okay. In my opinion, climate change is the biggest problem. However, governments should invest in renewable energy. As you can see, we have many things involved in one sentence. That is actually well structured. Okay, this one is the last activity. If you want to participate, it's fine. It's a Padlet. This is writing. Yes, don't worry. This is writing. And imagine that you guys have um, this topic. Should governments regulate AI? And we have the exercise. You can connect to take a look at the exercise. Let me copy the link. And again, you can use the chat. It's there in the chat already. Or you can use the QR code I share with you guys. So basically, it is to structure one sentence, yes, providing number one, your opinion, number two, one reason, and number three, one solution. Again, use the approach integrated grammar to construct or to build up one solid, very solid sentence. Okay. Let me share then the other screen here. So all the class can see what your classmates are doing. It is a pretty simple. If you can't finish it now, you will have more time in your house to practice. This is the activity I propose that you can do now. Okay, let's wait a couple of minutes, 2, 3 minutes, to see if you have some ideas. Okay, we're about to finish. And the other people, if you don't join to the Padlet, you can use the chat also to participate. So the question is, should governments regulate AI? Yes or no? Why? And what is the idea? The idea is that you give your opinion. Number one. Number two. Number two, you can give one solution. And number three, you can provide one reason. Oh, sorry. Number two is one reason. Okay, why? Yes or no? This is a pretty basic activity, but it can help you a lot. It can help you a lot to structure your speech. Remember that in this academic context, you can persuade your reader if you write, or you can debate and defend your position in a speaking debate, right? So when you communicate your opinion, we have here, in my opinion, climate change is a reality. However, governments should protect ecosystems. Okay, so Ella is nice, but remember that the question was different. This is of the a previous a previous activity that we had before. But yeah, it's basically the same idea, right? That you can structure this in 3 steps. This is the integrated grammar. Another person is writing. Okay, so cool. I'm gonna give you 1 more minute. Don't forget, you can use the chat also if you want. Keep in mind the question, should governments regulate artificial intelligence? Yes or no? And we are closing the session. Okay, guys, as you can see, there is another answer here. AI systems touch areas like hiring, healthcare, finance, and public information. That means mistakes or misuse can scale fast. Issues like bias, privacy violations, misinformation, and autonomous decision making aren't hypothetical. They are already happening. Without guardrails, companies and governments alike can deploy systems that affect millions without little accountability. Okay, we don't know who wrote this. I hope that you did by yourself. You had a lot of information here. Yes, you can structure this. This is good, but you can structure the 3 different paragraphs, all right? Like more clear. Give your opinion. What is your opinion? Definitely that it can affect everyone. One reason and one solution, one possible solution that all of them can work together, maybe. Okay, cool. Very nice. Nobody wrote here in the chat. Okay, so that means that we're ready to continue to the part of the session. Remember that, let me share it here. You can earn some extra points completing this form. So right now, what I'm going to share here in the chat is one challenge. This one, that is the exit challenge. It is that one basic question. When you answer this question related to the topic, we will see if you actively participated or not, because that is the idea. It's not just, okay, I am connected, I log in and that's it. No, the idea is to participate pay attention to the session. So that's why we have these Google Forms. Okay. The next one is remember that always it's important that you can take the best decisions. What was the most useful aspect that you learned today? This is what you have to ask yourself. Okay, it was actually a relevant topic. Did it like me or not? I consider it's going to be useful for me in my preparation, in my learning process. So think about it, right? How can you use the integrated grammar when communicating? Are you actually using that approach? Yes or no? What do you think? And finally, we have two more forums here. Let me share in the screen, in the chat, sorry. Share it one here. This is like the survey feedback that we definitely need this feedback. And we also have the attendance, which is the last one. All right. So as you can see, guys, you have 3 different forums. They are very short. It can take you 2-3 minutes to complete them all. All right. Pretty good, guys. Amazing. I hope that you enjoy. I don't know if you have any questions before you go. Just raise your hand. Let me know. Turn on your microphone. Any questions, any difficulties? I think that all that we have discussed here, you have already studied it at a certain point, right? You already know what is grammar. You already know what global communication is. You already know how to structure sentences, how to show contrast. The idea is to be aware of all of that and integrate in one solid stance, right? So you can create a solid writing text, of course. And when you debate, which is a challenge that we normally face in this academic context, so you can show your stance, your position, and that you can actually defend it. Okay? No questions, I guess.
No questions, teacher.
I have already shared the forms, so I hope that you can fill all of them in a couple of minutes, and that'll be all. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate your time, and see you next time. Okay. See you around. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.
Thank
Take
you,
care. Take
professor.
care.
Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Goodbye. Take care, guys. See you.